Welcome to the Power of. I'm Elsa Martin. Today I am talking about the power of commitment. Nothing worth having will come to us without our commitment. I want to read to you this Starbucks quote. I found this on a Starbucks cup several years ago, and I cut it out and I kept it all of this time because it is just so powerful and so good. And it says this: the irony of commitment is that it's deeply liberating in work, in play, in love. The act frees you from the tyranny of your internal critic, from the fear that dresses itself up and parades around as rational hesitation. To commit is to remove your head as the barrier of your life. I love that. That is so good. You can have amazing goals and be highly motivated to accomplish your goals. But if you don't commit to that, you'll never achieve your goals. The only way that you could truly get to where you want to go is by committing. Commitment often is seen maybe as a negative thing. People might think that it's something that's, when you commit to something, then you're constrained to that, or you're restricted, or it's suppressive. But commitment really is freeing. The thing with commitment, when you truly commit to something, it actually removes your brain out of the equation. You think about it. You probably are already committed to several things without even really thinking about it. You don't get up in the morning and decide whether or not you're going to brush your teeth that day, probably. You probably just do it because you're committed to having fresh, clean teeth. You're committed to your health of your teeth. How about your job? You probably don't get up each morning and decide whether or not you're going to go to work that day. No, you're committed to your job, so you just go. You don't have to think about it. When you're committed, it takes out the process of the decision of whether or not you're going to do that thing. So when you have a goal and you commit to that goal, you make up your mind that you are going to do that goal and you're going to accomplish that goal, be committed to it until you get there. Then it takes out the thought process, the weighing of the pros and the cons. Well, am I going to do it or am I not going to do it? And should I or shouldn't I? No, once you commit, you just make up your mind and you go for it and you do it. So commitment really does take our brain sort of out of the equation. We don't have to think about it and decide every day whether we're going to do it or not. Once we're committed, we just go for it and we do it and we stick with it because we've made up our mind that that's what we're going to do. So commitment takes our brains out of the equation, but it also helps take our feelings out of the equation. I love this quote. It says, when you are committed, your feelings no longer get a vote. So you don't decide whether or not you're going to take that action by whether you feel like it or not. When you're committed and you've made up your mind, you take the action, whether you feel like it or not. Because there's going to be a lot of days when you don't feel like doing whatever it is that's going to take you closer to your goal. But by being committed, it takes feelings out of the equation. Feelings don't get a vote. Whether you feel like it or not, you do it anyways because you know it's going to take you closer to your goal. You make up your mind and you just go for it. So I want to encourage you, make up your mind that you're going to commit to whatever it is that you need to do to get you closer to your goals. That those goals are worth it and that you are committed to doing it. That you're not going to have to wake up every morning and decide whether or not you're going to take the action to get you closer to your goal because you're committed. You've already made up your mind, and that feelings don't get a vote, that your goals are way more important than the feelings that are going to come in and try and sway you away from that. I'm going to finish with this quote. It says, commitment means staying loyal to what you said you're going to do long after the mood you said it in has left you. Make up your mind because you're worth it. Make up your mind and commit to your goals and do what it takes to get you there. Have an awesome week, and I'll talk to you next week.